Good morning. It is Tuesday, May 20th. Finally, Kyle and I back on the show, kind of in the normal spot. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. This is Kyle Mounts here. Today we're talking about Honda again, wholesale prices again, side hustles. Did you know? I'm going to give you a stat you probably didn't know.
I'm ready for the stat.
You and I come up with precisely 300,000 side hustles a day.
I think that's about right, actually, because at any given moment, I'm thinking about some little thing that I could be doing off to the side. I'm like, hey, GPT, could you run this automagically for me, potentially, just on the side? Because I think it could be amazing.
Dude, that's a great company name, Automagically.
That is a great. Ooh.
See, side hustle. There's one. Ding. Side hustle
Ding,
counter.
got him. It's unbelievable.
Oh my!
Poor Nathan is in the background going, "No, don't let it
happen." We're coming off of just an amazing week at a SodaCon. I know you and Michael talked about it a little bit yesterday. My body fully shut down, so I literally spent 36 hours in bed, and it was one of those where it's like you're so out that you're out. Like you're not thinking about anything. You're not like reminiscing. So it wasn't even like the fun kind where I could like think about all the great things that just happened at a SodaCon. No. My body was like, "You will stop, and I will let you up when you're ready. Are you done? Are you done?" And then it let me up. So
then this morning I sensed, you know how when you wake up from like a really deep sleep and you go like,
yes,
like that big breath. I sensed that from you because I start getting texts and emails from you. I'm like, oh, he did the big breath of life.
Yeah, it did. It came back really quickly.
So good.
There's so many cool things going on. We do have a webinar coming up tomorrow. Oh, no, next week. Next Wednesday,
Yep.
May 28th, driving performance with high octane data with our friend Cindy Allen of Stone Eagle. Cindy is just such a cool person.
She's cool.
In general. You got to get to know her. We got to know her.
She's a little bit nerd, a little bit athlete, a little bit just like epic story. I feel like we're kindred spirits.
Yeah, you know? Kindred spirits. Yeah, so you can sign up for that by going to asodu.com and just put your little email address in there, and you can be with us live, which we always love, or you can get the recording because we understand people be working. You know what I'm saying?
People be working.
I mean, I don't know if you announced this yesterday, but it's really fun to say. SodaCon 2026 is only like 360 days away or something like that.
Whoa.
But we do have the dates.
Soon.
Listen, it is too soon, but it's not soon enough. So every single year, there are numerous people who say, "Oh, I didn't block off the dates. I didn't." Right. So we're giving you a whole year in advance. It is the week after Mother's Day, folks. Just put it on the calendar. That's our week. May 12th through 15th, somewhere in there. Just write it on there. A SodaCon. It's the one you want to be at. We have between 600 and 700 people there this year. And next year it'll probably be more. You know, so which
Definitely
means
more.
Fewer hotel rooms available early.
That's the thing. When we announce, that's what you really need to pay attention to. When we announce the hotels, if you want to be in the main hotel block, you got to be on that real fast.
Yeah. And we'll get probably sometime soon. We'll get a like, hey, let me be the first to know. But just the pre thing right now. We have so many things to talk about, so many ideas. But today we're going to talk about a little news.
Get into it.
Honda is pumping the brakes on its aggressive EV strategy, cutting EV and R&D investment by 30% and slashing its 2030 sales forecast by more than 1 million vehicles. Instead, hybrids are back in the spotlight. Honda now expects just 700,000 to 750,000 EVs sold in 2030, down from 2 million. EV R&D cuts from $69 billion to $48 billion, with 13 next-gen hybrid models to debut starting in 2027 with improved fuel economy and cost. Here's a quote from CEO Toshihiro Mibe. It has become increasingly clear that environmental regulations are becoming relaxed. I think the EV penetration period will be pushed back by about 5 to 6 years.
Somewhere where consumer demand, charging networks, and EVs all, come together.
Yeah. So meanwhile, in the great state of California, their dealer association has issued a pretty direct cease and desist letter to Sony Honda Mobility, challenging their direct-to-consumer sales strategy for their Afeela 1 EV. American Honda claims no role. No, we don't even know what they're doing over there.
We don't even know.
What? No role in their sales plans. Temporary Afeela showrooms are now open in LA and Corte Madera. Permanent ones coming to Torrance and Fremont. Here is our friend Brian Maas, president of the California New Car Dealer Association, says, we're not going to stand idle while violations to our franchise law are perpetuated by our dealers' manufacturer partners.
Look, the CNCDA is coming out swinging in 2025. I mean, they are not messing around. They got lawsuits and cease and desist letters and all of the above. But I think what it goes to show is that, you know, dealer associations are doing good work to protect the franchise dealer and honestly protect the consumer, right? Because you get the ability to like really keep dealerships connected to the local fabric, the local community. And honestly, the fact that these manufacturers are so like out of the news cycle, not responding to things, that's like proof, that's case in point to we're not going to stay close to the ground, right? Yeah. Dealer associations, they get in, they have these conversations. You know, the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, they're like on the front lines talking about these things, willing to answer the questions. And you see, you know, whether it be Scout or whether it be Sony Honda Mobility, just backing away from the conversation. And that's going to continue long into the future is my guess.
All right. I got a hot take on this. It just came to me.
Give it to me.
So we have the Sony Honda with the Afeela vehicle, which, by the way, if you want to know someone who's seen it, has a strong opinion on it, ask Steve Greenfield. Yeah, I'll leave that right there. The second one is Scout, right? And you have these two competitors. I don't think Sony Honda Afeela has what it takes at all to distribute this vehicle across the country in any meaningful way and compete against the ones who have already got quite a head start and are still having trouble. Like, I think of the Lucids, right? The Sony Afeela, it's trying to be right? In the Lucid lane. So Lucid lane. And then you think about
it's got like, you know, weird hood ornaments on
that's
the top
always
of the
a
roof.
value. That's a value prop. And then you have and then you have Scout, right? Scout, I think, has a little bit of a legacy brand to pivot off of. Really cool looking vehicles, really going against that Rivian market share. If you look at the two,
it looks like a Rivian.
That's
because
could be
it's
why
built on the platform.
Rivian is the only one really doing a great job distributing at scale. I mean, Tesla is now not even in that group anymore. Tesla is something altogether different. But you look at Rivian, very strong, very, you know, they're building, they're more profitable, they have plans. I think that both Afeela and Scout are kind of running this parallel lane where they're trying to build this value proposition. At some point, they will shift to offering it through these dealers, and the more momentum they can get is going to raise the value and price to the dealer network when they want to integrate them. And I think that's what's going to happen. When's that shoe going to fall? I think it's probably going to be within the next 12 to 18 months.
This is what's crazy to me. The dealer networks are begging to sell the cars.
We're going to see it in 2026.
How often do you see a dealer network begging you to wholesale cars to you, right? They're like, no, little less inventory, please, right? Yeah. Except for Toyota dealers. Mm-hmm. But every dealer I know is like, no, give me the Scout.
Dude, how many VW dealers do you know who would right now sign a contract to get these Scout vehicles, build a separate facility or a separate showroom? They would line up for it.
Line up. Done.
Well, we'll see. Speaking of lining things up.
Segue.
Time.
Wholesale used prices dipped in the first half of May, giving back some of April's unusually strong gains. The market showing signs of normalization, even as demand for used vehicles does remain steady. The Manheim Index fell to 205.9, which is down 1.1% from April, but still up. Here's the important part. Still up 4.4% year over year. 3-year-old vehicles depreciated slower than average, down just 0.6%. Luxury and SUV segments led all of the year-over-year gains. Compact cars were the only group to actually decline. EVs rose 2% year-over-year, but saw a 2% drop versus April, which is steeper than all the other vehicles. Here's a quote from Cox Automotive's Jeremy Robb. As the tariff situation evolves and the frenzy of buying activity for new vehicles calms down, we expect wholesale pricing trends to remain more normal through Q2.
Yeah, the only thing that could get in the way of this is if we start to continue to see less and less new car inventory on the ground. Obviously, tariffs are still a question mark, and you see manufacturers pulling back on inventory. And I think used car values through the summer could go up, especially if we see any sort of change in interest rates, right? Because as interest rates grow, that affordability matrix into that next tier of affordability will drop for used cars, right? New cars may not regain the affordability matrix anytime soon, but if there's that trickle into used cars, that's where we could see a change. But I love to see the normalization. It probably makes managing a used car inventory a lot easier. But keeping an eye on your day supply is super important going into the summer, because there is so much volatility in the new car market. Understanding like how many cars you have on a rolling 7 to 11 day basis is still super important. But the storyline here for me still is watch out for those EVs. Like you could see them drop at any minute.
Oh man, that's a great point. People are afraid of them. I don't know why. I'm not.
I don't know why.
Maybe I used to be. I don't have anything to add to that one. Let's talk about side hustles.
Let's
please.
get
Can
into
we
side
talk
hustles.
about side hustles?
Hey, side hustles aren't just a way to save for vacation anymore. It's not your old paper route. They're becoming an economic necessity for many Americans. With living costs rising and economic uncertainty looming, millions are turning to extra work just to stay afloat. 44% of Americans now report having a side hustle. That's crazy. 43% of them rely on it to pay for basic living expenses. Bankrate data shows 71% earn under $500 a month on these side hustles, with 9% making over $2,000. Top gigs include web design, video editing, ride hailing, delivery driving, and even voiceover work. 3 of which you can leverage AI for.
That voiceover work's going away.
So a lot of people are using side gigs to build AI-proof income streams in trades, tutoring, or specialized service as well, things that need that human interaction. NetCredit reports AI-based gigs on Fiverr average $44.50 per day. Low, but growing fast. So it's not a hot day, but you could get a little pocket change for some AI leverage tasks out there.
Listen, I mean, I guess this is kind of new at scale, but like I grew up in a house where I guess we didn't call it side hustles back then, but my dad just had multiple jobs. He just had paper route in the morning. He went, right. You got to work. He had a bunch of kids and all that stuff. I will say this whole organization, Asotu, started out as a side hustle.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. No, but the reality is it's easier than ever to have a side hustle. And I think that's one of the contributing factors. Like, think about it. Most of the things that they mention, aside from ride hailing, are things that you don't have to leave your house for.
Yep.
You don't have to leave your station. Some people, I mean, a lot of people probably navigate these side hustles while they're navigating their other jobs. More tech savvy people are going to have an easier time with this, because through platforms like Fiverr, right, you can leverage a little bit of understanding to people who have a little bit less understanding.
Yeah, and being ahead of the curve only takes about 6 months of expertise right now when it comes to anything driven by technology or AI. So that I think that's where there's an unfair advantage if you're ahead by 5 to 6 months on anything, and giving that like knowledge base and access to a little side hustle. It's definitely something out there.
It still takes work though. It's like there's no easy dollar, right? People are always chasing that. There's not. Like even if you want to make $50 a day on Fiverr, what's a $44.50 is the average. Like an extra $50 a day, 5 days a week is a lot of money.
Yep.
Right? But it's not just going to come to you.
You could sell cars and make a lot more money. Come on now.
Yes, we have an industry that you won't need a side hustle if you just lean in for a little while.
That's right.
That's a great one. But yeah, without a doubt, like you said though, needing to stay on the edge is important. Even with ride hailing, right? All this autonomous stuff, we're going to see a flushing out of ride hailing services, Uber driving. There are going to be other things that emerge. But I mean, I think it makes sense. I don't know that I see this as a good thing or a bad thing, right? Like it is a thing, especially when like people talk about work-life balance and things like that. Let's face it, like a lot of jobs today require less effort than they did 10 years ago. Like less mental effort. There's been more focus on like make workflows and make things easier. So I don't know, but what I do know is that if you work hard, you're much more likely to be successful. And the auto industry is definitely a place that rewards hard work. We tell everybody this weekend, if you're happen to be listening to this, you're not in the industry, find your way to it. Please, we want more good people here. We will see you here first thing tomorrow.
left and right.